And I'm going to say welcome again, because as we are doing this, more and more people are actually coming into the room. Bedrock Business Builders is going to give you insight on accounting and bookkeeping and being a virtual assistant who specializes in bookkeeping. We have a fair amount of them on our team. It is a wonderful thing. It makes it so we can do lots of things together. We make it so our system is simple, because bookkeeping and accounting can be simple. I know it seems like it's going to be really hard. I know there's lots of loopholes in taxes and reconciling accounts, but there are simple things that we can learn together to make it easier. Excuse my voice, I have lost it this week, but I still want to be here for you guys. And I want to be here as loud and as proud as possible. I want all of you, if you can, I do this with my brother, I have to admit, and I do this with myself. I work at my desk a lot, and I have to take a break every 15 minutes, and I have to move. All right. I want you guys, as we're starting this, I want you to make it so you are energizing your thoughts and your body. And you're going to do spirit fingers, which is like bringing your hands up and having them around, right? It is exercise in your chair. Now, my brother, I exercise in my chair with my brother because he is a big guy. All right. I'm not joking. He really is. He's a big guy. That's how he's going to exercise with me. We do legs exercise. We stretch out, we go back in, stretch out, go back in. The other thing that we do is called an H breath. We roll our shoulders back. All right. We get into a power stance. Kareen, have you ever done this power stance? Have I showed you how to do this? I think the first time we interviewed and we talked, I showed you this power stance. You put your feet flat on the ground. All right. You take a big breath in, you go through your nose and your mouth, you hold it, and then you go, ah. Now you might sound, why are you sounding like ah? Well, that ah makes it so your pituitary gland in the back of your head vibrates and it releases oxytocin all throughout your body. I mean, like, we can do another one of those breaths. Roll your shoulders back, take a big breath in, and then go ah. Because bookkeeping and accounting, guess what? It is a lot of because a lot of things are going on, and sometimes it's complicated, and sometimes you need to take that breath. So as you are coming into the room, and it is first thing in the morning, or it's late on a Friday night, remember, we're going to do those spirit fingers. We're going to move around a little bit. If you've got some music in your background because you're muted, you can have some music, because we're not starting yet. We are making it so everybody's in the room and they are comfortable as everybody continues to hop on in. I'm serious. Put your contact information, put your emails, tell us, what do you want to learn? Because the only way that Joe is going to know what you want to learn is if you tell him. But from my personal experience, I ask him a million questions and he will always give me an answer. I don't care if it's the most complex tax problem there is, or if it's the most simplistic. He always will provide an answer. And I've been watching his videos and I've been doing lots of things for him. I'd say at least 2.5 years, because I'll tell you, Joe had a mastermind. And do you know who came to his mastermind? Kareen, do you know who came to his mastermind? I did. But Joe didn't even come to his mastermind. So sometimes we got to think to ourselves, where is Joe? We're going to find him, right? Because he's not in this room yet, but we're all in this room. So if you know how to find Joe, if you know him on social media, if you're a member of Bedrock Business Builders, the Facebook group, if you know Kareen's email address, I'm going to say, like it, share it, tell everybody that you're here. Say, Joe, we want you in this room. We need you in this room. Where are you, right? It's like, where's Waldo? But it's, where's Joe? Because he's not here yet. But he did leave me a message that, Marianne, are you ready to say a few words? Would you like to speak as we get this party started? Oh, good. Please do an introduction. Who are you? Why are we all here
thanks,
together?
Elizabeth.
Well, I don't, is it, okay, her internet might not be working so well, which is fine. I have to tell you, when we've got a crowd that's this big, when we've got so many people together, internet is not so stable. It is okay. Take a breath. Remember those big breaths that we did before? We rolled our shoulders back, both our shoulders. We do our power stance where we've got both feet on the ground. We take a big breath in, we go, and then we go, ah. And it'll tingle all the way down through your fingertips. It'll make it so life is easier, more enjoyable. And now Marianne, her internet might be not be so stable, but I can tell you that she is amazing at what she does. You all know her from her Facebook group, right? Kareen, you know her from the Facebook group. I think that's how you kind of like found her and things like that. She has brought all of you together, and it's to make it so you can be freelancers, to make it so you can be virtual assistants. I have to admit, I graduated from law school in New York. And do you know what my job is? It's not going to a courtroom and practicing law. Did I do that? Yes, I did that in criminal court in Bronx County. But really, my job, the company that I started, was also virtual assistants because it is that profitable. It is a good thing to be a virtual assistant. In fact, it's easier. You kind of get to be your own boss, but remember, your clients are always going to kind of be your boss. So you're still like beholden to them. You know what I mean? You just can't get around it. They're going to ask you to do things. They're going to ask you to have your schedule ready. And when Marianne, and if she's ever able to come on and speak, I'm definitely going to let her speak because I am so thankful that she was able to introduce all of us together. And I have to admit that I am still letting people in the room. This is a big crowd. I hope you want to learn lots of things. And again, tell us what you want to learn. In fact, we're going to give away prizes. We're going to give away free information. We're going to give you lots of things because we can't help ourselves. Bedrock is a foundation, and it's a foundation to build upon, especially if you're interested in bookkeeping, in accounting, in finance, and you want to make it fun because that's the point. It is to make it fun. Now, my voice is definitely cutting in and out, and we're still trying to find Joe. So, Kareen, can you do me a favor? Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. So, hi everyone. Welcome to the training course for accountants and tax preparer VAs. So we're really happy that you're here. We've had over 400 people who registered for this course. I'm sure you'll be able to learn a lot from Joe, from Elizabeth, from everything that we'll be sharing with you today. So my name is Corrine. I work with Joe, with Elizabeth, and with everyone in Bedrock. We have a couple of other team members here in the room. You'll get to learn about them more later on. But for me, I'm the executive virtual assistant for Bedrock Business Builders. I've been working as a VA for more than a year now, and I could say that it's been a really fun and it's been really a fun career journey. I've been learning a lot, especially from Bedrock. um Working from home actually is a good arrangement, especially now that we're in the pandemic. We all want to be safe. We all want to like work from the comforts of our home, be with our family, play with our kids or pets while working, but of course being still able to focus with work. So I hope and I'm sure you will all also reach this point wherein you'll be able to find um, a good work probably, or a good client that you can work with online or virtually and apply everything that you will learn, not only from probably from your university before, but what you've been learning from Marian's group and what we will be able to share with you. So that's it. Again, if you want to reach out to us, you have our email address there in the chat. You can just send us a message or anything, and I hope you enjoy the course today.
And I'm going to remind you that we have reactions, everybody. You might not want to be on camera. You might want to be on camera. You might want to say things. You might want to raise your hand and ask a question, and you might want to just send some love. You can do all of those things while we're in here together. Kareen, thank you for a lovely introduction. I have to admit that Kareen makes it so I am better at my job. Okay, like no joke. She makes it so we work together, things become flawless, they're seamless, there's a good workflow. And it's because guess what? When people work virtually together, it can be a cohesive team. There's lots of communication tools out there that make it work and that make it easy. And not just easy, I think it makes it simple. And I'm going to continue muting people. If you want to unmute yourself and say anything, you're more than welcome to. All right, if you've got any questions, by all means, ask questions, put them in the chat. We still have more people coming in. So I'm still like introducing myself over and over again. And I will say, I have been a virtual assistant for 8 years. Okay, I have not been in an office for over 8 years, and I do well with it. And I have my children, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and what else did I do? I have learned so much. I made it so I did not have to go into a courtroom and practice, but I still got to do the things that I loved. A lot of things that you do as a virtual assistant is paying attention to the detail. One of the benefits of being a virtual assistant is that you get to give people tangible goods. You get to make their lives easier. You get to solve their problems. However you are in your virtual assistance practice, the goal is to solve your client's problems as quickly and efficiently as possible. And you have the skill and you have the knowledge and you are the expert in your niche, which might be bookkeeping and accounting. It could be other things like marketing or doing videos. However it is that you freelance, you become the expert. You have the ability to learn everything that you're doing at the comfort of your desk. You get to have a setup that you are comfortable with. You get to have a setup that where you can sit back, you can roll those shoulders. And I keep doing these, all right? Because as we're setting up, as we're learning for the day, we're going to do more of those H breaths. We're going to go, ah, and remember the is because it's vibrating your pituitary gland and you are actually making it so you're happier. Working at home can make it so you are happy. And happiness is a choice. That's why I chose to work from home. Now, I haven't gone too much into detail right now about a lot of bookkeeping and accounting. I'm going to leave that for Joe, who actually came in the room. So if you want to chat to Joe and say, hey, Joe, thanks for being here. We're going to learn so much together. Do that. And remember, I'm still muting people as they're coming in. But I want to make it so this room is somewhere where we can see each other, somewhere we can engage. We can make sure to save the chat. Okay. So in the chat, not only can you type into there, but there is a ... As a virtual assistant, I'm going to tell you right now, one of the things you want to learn is the ... And if it's Google, it's the 9 dots that are there. It's the 9 ... because the ... is where the settings are. One of the things that you do as a virtual assistant that your clients don't necessarily do is look at the ... You make sure that you're paying attention to the settings. You make sure that you're paying attention to the details, and you can save our chat. Not only is this being recorded and you'll get a recording after the fact, I'm sure Karina's going to follow up with emails. She's going to follow up with links. She's going to have all the information that you'll need to make it so you don't forget what we're learning here today, because it's going to be a lot. Joe packs a punch in all of the information that he's going to give us. Okay. Janine has spent a fair amount of time working on slides and making sure that the information that we are sharing together is cohesive. Because bookkeeping and accounting, it might seem like you need to do, what are those? What are we talking about? We roll our shoulders back. We do our power stance. We take a big breath in. We go, ah. Joe likes those H breaths too. You know, sometimes he forgets about them. I know, but when we first started working together, I did them all the time. And I'm going to do them together with you here because it's that oxytocin. It's that love. You've got to love what you do. All right. I don't know where, see sound. There you go. When you are the host of a Zoom room, did you know that you can mute everybody? Did you know that you could move people around to the way that you want to see them and they can dance? When you are the host of the room, you can kick people out. You can make it so the settings and the controls that you do make it so when they come into the room, I'm sorry, none of you guys can talk. Okay. I can make it so I go to that ... and I say, that's it. You can't talk. You can't unmute yourself. You can't do any of that stuff. I can make it so you can't change your name. I can make it so no sound is going to play, but I don't like necessarily doing that. I can also control who's going to share the screen and who isn't going to share the screen. Because as a virtual assistant, as someone who's running these Zoom rooms, you want to take control of the situation. You want to make it so you know the tools and the resources that you are working with. And that's why you're here today. That's why you're here this morning, because bookkeeping and accounting is learning the tools and the resources. It's putting all that stuff together. And a lot of times, it's asking for help.
35C.
I don't know, that's super non-mute. There we go. I muted all the participants. Now, I know it will always seem like there is a lot of buttons. There's a lot of controls. You will never break anything if you're touching those buttons or those controls. You can always start over. And that's why you take those H breaths, because you can start over. And guess what, everybody? As we've been talking through this, as we've been going through these taking these H breaths and doing our spirit fingers and our desk exercises and reminding ourselves that even when we work at our desk, it's important to eat properly. It's important to exercise. I got to say, right next to me, I've got an elliptical that I go on to, because yes, Jennifer, I see you. You are shaking it. You're doing the spirit fingers, going around with your neck. That's the beauty of working at home. That's the beauty of being at your desk, all right? Because you get to control those things. Being a virtual assistant, being an accountant, being a bookkeeper, whatever niche that you go into with this, you become an expert. You become the master of your domain. And that is really important. I think it's essential to be the master of your domain, because it makes it so you feel confident in what you are doing and what you are producing. And never be fearful of asking for help. Never fear saying and asking somebody, do you know this? Do you know that? Because the more you ask questions, guess what? You get the answers. If you say something, if you put it out there to the universe that you want something specific, do you know what's going to happen? It's going to be there right in front of you over and over and over again until you take that opportunity. And as Shirley Ann Felder says, one of my favorite women in the world, she says, you take opportunity, you hold it by the throat, and you make it sing for you. All right? That's what you do. And that's what everyone in this room is going to continue to do, because I know it's 9 o'clock. I know everybody's time is important. I know whether we were starting at 8:30 or we were starting at 9 o'clock, we need to be on time. We need to hear what Joe has to say. And there's going to be more meetings. There's going to be more opportunities to connect. So remember, keep putting your information in the chat, okay? And right now, I'm going to actually spotlight Joe, because here he is. I think I'm going to try and make him a co-host, all right? So then he too can share his screen. It's really important. One of the reasons why I'm saying all the different things I'm doing is because what Bedrock Business Builders likes to do is we like to teach. We are not here just to know the answers. In fact, I'll tell you, every Friday when I play a party at Mastermind with Joe DeChera, I don't know the answers. You guys do, all right? And that is the beauty of being a teacher. That is the beauty of asking questions, is that we learn from one another all the time. So Joe, the master of the, what have I called you in the past? I think I have called you Joe the CPA, all right? Joe the CPA, because you're cool. You're not just a CPA who doesn't tell jokes. In fact, you tell jokes, dad jokes sometimes, but you're really funny. And you know these intricate laws. You make it so our clients don't necessarily have to pay any more taxes than they have to. You also make it so we all know what we're doing because you don't mind repeating yourself. And in fact, you make tons of videos where you are willing to put yourself out there. You're willing to pop your your suspenders and say, that's it. We're going to learn something together. You're willing to unmute yourself and show the world that not only are we going to fight the IRS, not only are we going to teach our clients, but maybe, just maybe, we're going to also get along with the IRS. We're going to get along with our clients, and we're going to make it so things are simple. So, Joe, please, it's your turn.
Well, this is going to be fun. I want to first and foremost, I want to thank Yan Yan, I know her as Marianne, for inviting all these awesome people. And I know this is just going to be the start of something that we're going to be doing more of. Marianne, hello. You can unmute yourself, and I'd like you to say a few words if you can. You're muted.
Hi everyone. Good evening and good morning, accounting people. I'm so excited. Thank you again. You're giving me a goosebump for this webinar. So no, I just want to say hi to everybody and participating. This is the first step for our goals to become a badass freelancer. So again, thank you for Bedrock. Thanks to Joe. I'm so grateful and of course happy to share this knowledge to everyone. And then again, I'm thankful to God for giving us the reason for meeting up Joe. And just make it short and simple. We're 100 here, so I hope it will become 400. I'm still praying. But take this opportunity to learn every day, and I'm sure Joe will give us more and more knowledge and skills to be passed on to you. So we will have more 6 digits income and more financial freedom. And again, thank you everyone. Thanks to Joe and everybody from Bedrock. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Janine. Hi, Luz. Hi, Corinne. So thank you guys. Let's enjoy. Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thank you, Marianne. And, you know, we think alike. You know, when I met you, I said that nothing happens by chance. You know, there was a reason why we met. And, you know, you introduced me to this group, and I have to say, this is one of the best groups on Facebook that I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying that. You have so many people, you know, it's not the number of people that you have. You do have a good amount. I think you're over 1,800 now. So congratulations. But you have participation and energy that I don't see in many groups, and I'm in a lot of them. And so kudos for that. And thank you for thanking God, because, you know, that without God, I wouldn't be doing this. And, you know, we've had the pleasure of being able to attract great people, and we're gonna go through that. You know, I'm an entrepreneur with the CPA license. Okay, you'll see. I'll give you some of my background. I've been doing this a long time, but the people that I've surrounded myself enabled us to pull this off. I could never do this by myself. So I just, you know, I want to say thank you to my team. I see a lot of them here. So let's get on with the show. Is that okay with everyone?
Go ahead, Joe. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here, and let me just explain what we're doing here. Yeah, I'm an accountant. Elizabeth talked a lot about being a virtual assistant. I love what Marianne is doing, teaching people how to, you know, leverage the technology that we have, the unbelievable technology where the world has become extremely small and people can work from home. And it's not just the Philippines, it's the whole world. People in the United States, we are calling it the Great Resignation, because there's over 4 million people that decided not to go back to their jobs. Even my son, who's an attorney, he's moving to another state. He's keeping his job because they said you could work from home. So there's a lot of, and Marianne saw this, why have to travel to a job, all that time that you spend. It's not an investment. You're spending time going to an office. And not that that's bad. Sometimes I miss going to an office and seeing people, but you have the option. And I think that's very powerful. And whether you're already doing it or you're just looking to do it, whether you want to do it as an accountant, a bookkeeper, a marketing assistant, a virtual assistant, that it doesn't matter. You can do almost anything remotely. So so the slides, we have a bunch of slides. I'm going to go through them, some of them quickly, some of them slowly. What I want to do is I want to give you an overview of what we do and how we do it, dealing with the American system. And that's what we have. We have created a system within the American system. We have developed a system that we don't fight with the IRS or the state and local governments. What we do, Elizabeth likes to say, is we play nice with them. And that's how we do it. We start, well, I'll show you how we start. Let me just tell you, and I saw this a long time ago. I actually started the idea of working remotely hit me when I saw that you can actually do accounting remotely. And it was on a server. It was nothing like it is today. But I saw the fact that, hey, I didn't have to drive to all of my clients. Okay, so that was the first thing. Speed up to now, today, what I call this is, and I've told my team this, and I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of opportunities. Like I said, I am an entrepreneur first. And when I see an opportunity to do something, I like to jump on it. And right now, I call it the perfect storm. You'll see that a couple of times in the slideshow. But this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to go over briefly the bookkeeping and accounting fundamentals, business and individual tax requirements. I think I saw from my interaction in the group that a lot of people want to learn the United States tax system that starts with their legal structure. So we're going to go through that in detail. Some of the compliance issues, because there's more and more coming up every day, it seems. The actual role of the Internal Revenue Service. A lot of people look at them, they're like Darth Vader from Star Wars, but they're actually composed of people and they have a mission. And I like to pull back the curtain on them and make them less mysterious and scary. Also, I'm going to show you some of the tools and resources that we leverage because you need them. You could be the best accountant, bookkeeper in the world, but once you learn what the best tool is, it makes you stronger. And we'll see. And we've learned a lot through trial and error. And also the fact that you have to be flexible. You got to be able to pivot because of technology is always changing. And we're also going to cover a little bit about marketing your business. I could tell you about my take on marketing, but we have Elizabeth, Corrine, and Janine here. Maybe they can talk a little bit about that because they're the ones that drive all of our marketing today. I'm just a spectator, and that's fine with me. So let's talk about who this is for. I believe that if you're in this room right now, this is for you. We've announced this. I saw a lot of excitement. This is for you if you want to take hold of your destiny, if you want to uh, make the choice on how you're going to make money, how you're going to live your life, how you're going to spend your time, this is definitely for you. If you want to learn about the different opportunities that are out there, this is going to be for you. I am going to talk about the accounting and tax part of this, but keep an open mind and just think of if this will apply to you. I believe it's universal. Like I said, Janine is I'm going to pick on you a lot, Janine, because I know that you love it. She came to us as a graphic designer, and now she's doing our website, and I don't think that she even thought about doing websites when she came to us, but that's, sometimes you can grow into a position. I've seen it happen a lot. So let's talk about the opportunity, because that's what I think we're all here for. And this is what I call the perfect storm. And it's been like this for a very, very long time, that there's been a severe, I can't stress that enough, a severe shortage of good accountants and tax preparers and bookkeepers. Okay. And I know that because I have not been able to find any in the United States. I have been trying for years. And what I found is that if they're really good, they usually have their own business. So it's become a real issue for accountants. And there's a lot of accountants here in the same position I was in that need good, solid help. And that's what we found in the Philippines. Also, there's an unprecedented amount of new business owners. Part of it, I believe, is because of COVID, because people don't want to go back to work. And they all found out the fact that, hey, surprise, I could make money from home. That was the drawback. And that's what led to the Great Resignation. So a lot of people are not only leaving their jobs, people like my mother are opening up. My mother has a little Etsy shop. My son-in-law sells posters online. Now, these were normally considered hobbies, okay? But what the IRS has done and is doing is they inadvertently turn them into businesses, meaning that my mother, who is retired, 82 years old, has no option because she's going to get a 1099 from her Etsy shop. You don't have to sell that much to have to report it to the IRS. Okay. And my job, I believe, is to educate people on this, because most people don't even know that they're going to have to file tax returns. The IRS has been pounding me and all of our accountants and tax preparers on the fact that there's going to be millions of people that never had to file a tax return before. A lot of them are going to get caught by surprise because they will get a 1099. They're not going to know what it is. And then they're going to get a letter from the IRS. And that's one of the things that we do at Bedrock. We handle these letters that people get. It's not fun when you get a letter because you don't know how to answer it. I actually have, Elizabeth mentioned our videos. I have a YouTube channel. If you want, we can use some more subscribers, but I have a lot of videos on these topics. The complexity of the system. It was complicated when I started. It's 100 times more complicated now, and it's not getting any simpler. It's getting more complicated, not just at the federal IRS level, but at the state and local levels. It's like everybody all of a sudden wants you to fill out a form. And if you don't fill out the form that all of a sudden you're required to fill out, you get hit with a penalty. So we get clients that, say, what is this letter I got that says I owe $25? And we're like, well, because you opened your business in this place and this place requires you to register. That's what we call compliance issues. And the government. So not only is the system complicated, the federal, state, and local governments, and now I'm talking about the United States, they are hungry for money. You know, the United States prints money. They sent a lot of US citizens money during COVID. Well, they want to get that money back, and they're looking to our clients to do that. No different with the state and local governments. Now, what's different now that is different from before is they are using technology just like we are. They are linking all the different agencies. Now, if you think about this, in the United States, and I'll show you this, everything starts at the state and local level. Well, in the past, the state did not communicate with the IRS, which always baffled me. But the truth is they just didn't have the technology. It cost a lot of money, even for the government, to put in computers and systems and link them. Well, it's become a lot cheaper for them. So they're all talking to each other. So when you open a business, and not only that, the government now is talking to the US banks. And not only the US banks, they're talking to foreign banks. So it's like the whole world is conspiring to, you know, find out who they can collect money from. And I call that the perfect storm. So now who are we? We didn't, you know, my idea when I started Bedrock Business Builders was not to do a lot of what we're doing today, believe it or not. I didn't wake up and say, hey, let me try to protect 27 million entrepreneurs from the IRS. I said, let me teach people how to build a foundation for their business, because what I saw was that small businesses flounder and they go out of business, and they spend money for the simple reason that they don't know the fundamentals. So we teach our clients the fundamentals, from how to keep a bank account, how to not use 15 credit cards in their business, how to streamline things, how to use technology. Because what I've learned is that small business owners, and myself included, you know, a lot of people are one-person operations, and you can't do everything good, and you can't do everything yourself, which makes it even more important for people to enlist good assistants, good virtual assistants. And I'm not just talking about virtual executive assistants like Elizabeth is, like Corrine is. Any kind of assistant that you want. I mentioned my son, he's an attorney, and they see him as a valuable asset, and they were going to lose him. And they were like, well, why don't you just work from home? Okay. But the fact is that everything we do, besides keeping it fun, we're the only firm, the only accounting and tax preparation firm in the world that focuses on having fun. Okay. Elizabeth is dancing there. She's our CFO. That's the Chief Fun Officer. But that's who we are. And who am I? Who am I? You know, some of you might know me a little, some of you know me a lot. Most of you, I think, just know me from Facebook. But let me show you who I am, or tell you who I am. This is what I've done. Okay, this isn't who I am. What I've done over 40 years in the accounting business is I've literally worked with thousands of small businesses. When I started adding it up, it scared me almost. I was like, oh my God, look, I've literally worked with thousands of people. And when it came down to it, every one of them I was helping them create what we call books and records, which is becoming the most important phrase now in the United States. And if business owners didn't know what books and records were before, they're gonna know it. Because when the IRS calls them to bring down their books and records, and this is one of the things we're going to be teaching people. You want to know what books and records are, okay? I've helped people, deal with those nasty notices that they get, stay in compliance, stay, you know, run your business. Don't spend your time raising red flags with the government. And that means dotting your I's and crossing all your T's. Now, I want to change this since I met Elizabeth. I don't go to war with anyone anymore. I work with people and the truth is now the people that we work with, they have a job to do, and that's to resolve the problem. Okay, I used to feel like I was going to war with them, but the truth is, every time I worked with somebody at the IRS, an insurance company, a bank, we all have a mutual goal, which is to solve the problem. And that's what I've done over the last 35 to 40 years. Now, this is who I am. This is what I love to do. I love to teach people. I love to help people, and I love to guide people. Nothing makes me happier when somebody says, "Oh, you just made that so simple for me." Because to me, a lot of these things are simple. If you do something 10,000 times over and over again, you're going to figure out, that it's really not that complicated. And that's what I do. So let's talk about the system. Okay, sometimes I call it the machine. And it's not just the IRS. We talk about the IRS a lot because actually they are in charge of making sure that the American taxpayer is in compliance with the tax laws. In other words, filing all the returns that they're supposed to file and paying their taxes. Okay. In 2017, which isn't too long ago, the IRS employed 76,000 people, less than 80,000 people. Now, my aunt was one of those people. She worked there for over 20 years. She worked in the automated collections system, which is, that's part of the machine. That's the part that sends out those notices that you owe money. It's the automated collection system. And she answered the phone. So I got some really interesting inside information on, the inner workings of the IRS, besides working with them for a long time. So it's pretty interesting. They are a large organization, if you think about it. They process over 160 million tax returns every year. That's a lot of returns. And the result has been they finally figured out that they don't have enough people to police us. So they just passed a law, and they're in the process of hiring over 80,000 revenue officers and agents. Now, the difference is the revenue officers do the audits. They audit the businesses. The agents are collection agents. They don't care about the law. They just care about collecting the money from you. So, imagine, they're calling up the troops. Now, the truth is, I'm like, where are they going to hire these people from? Because, like I said, there's a shortage of good accountants and tax preparers. So I'm just wondering, where are they going to get these people? My feeling is they're going to hire a lot of people that aren't really qualified, which is kind of scary. Okay. So I believe we're going to be working with a lot of people that aren't very good at their jobs. Okay. And we're going to have to help them. Believe it or not, we are going to have to help explain to them what's going on. We need to be able to tell them the story of our client's business. That's what our job is as bookkeepers and accountants. We're helping them create their books and records, which is really, when you think about it, it's the financial story of their business. Not only the financial side, but the human side. Because I've actually learned that dealing with an IRS agent or revenue officer is that they're people too. And when you humanize it, when you tell them, listen, person has been trying to run this business for a long time. It's not easy. And, you know, they could really use a break. Why don't we see what we can do for them? Okay, so that's the IRS. We also, and so this is what I'm saying, people believe it's the evil IRS. You know, I laugh because even when a client gets a letter from the state or local government, they say, I got a letter from the IRS. It's always the IRS. And then when I look at the letter, I'm like, this is from the Social Security Administration. So just to give you an idea, it's not just the IRS. Social Security is a huge issue in the United States. Now, I know the Philippines has their own Social Security system. So we have a very large system, and it's going to run out of money. It's projected to have to run out of money. And they don't want to run out of money. And that's what's driving a lot of stuff that's going on now, believe it or not. There's an issue which we're going to cover with 1099 independent contractors. So Elizabeth is an independent contractor. Now I have to get what we call a W-9 from her. And what the W-9 tells me, number one, it gives me her name and ID number, so I can give her a form 1099 at the end of the year, so that the government knows, hey, Elizabeth has a business. And in the past, a lot of those businesses don't pay their taxes. And the main tax they don't pay is Social Security. Okay, so there's a big issue in the United States when it comes to employees, because employees automatically pay the Social Security through their paycheck. This is very, very important. You should note this, because it's really what's driving a lot of what's going on here. Also, and I'm skipping the subject here, but I might as well bring it up because you're all either virtual assistants or looking to be. In the United States now, they're policing people that hire virtual assistants in foreign countries. So there's a form called W-8BEN. Okay, note that, because when you talk to somebody from the United States, it will be a surprise to them. And it will make you look very smart and like you're on the top of your game, because you're going to be telling them something that they should know and they don't know. I guarantee you that they don't. If somebody knows about this, it's because they've run into a problem already. And the W-8 is the same thing as like a W-9 form for foreigners. And what both of them do is they attest to the fact, when you sign these forms, when a US citizen signs any tax return, they are attesting under penalty of perjury that they do not owe back taxes. Okay, so as an employer, I'm an employer. If I don't get this form, the IRS could potentially come to me and say, oh, Elizabeth owed money and you didn't collect it from her, so you have to pay it. That's the thing that most businesses don't know, and that's what they're going to be facing. So it's very easy when you start talking to these people, you could impress them by saying, did you know that, you know, when you hire me, I got to fill out a W-8BEN so that you won't get penalized from the IRS. And the fact that they are going to have to get W-9 forms from anybody that they're doing business with. Now, in the United States, there's still an exemption for corporations. I think that they're going to remove that. And even if they don't, I'm still telling our clients that they need to get a W-9 from anybody they're doing business with. And not at the end of the year. My accounting team knows what a problem that is, because you can't, if you want to go back to somebody that you paid during the year for that information, it's hard, and you got a small window of time. So Homeland Security, they're not even part of the IRS or Social Security. They're an independent agency that was formed as a result of 9/11. And their mission is to, you know, quite bluntly, is to keep terrorists out of the United States. And so how do they do that? There's another form that employers are required to get. It's called an I-9. It's a long form. You got to ask for all kinds of identification. You got to prove, you need a photo ID, you need a passport, a license. You got to prove who you are. Now, I've had clients that were visited by Homeland Security. They made a surprise visit, and it wasn't like a surprise birthday party. It was like, hey, we're from the government and we want to see all your files. And so luckily my clients listened to me, and they had all the I-9s for their employees. So they were looking for, you know, they're looking for employers that aren't complying, and they're looking for people that are working illegally, and they're not going to treat them very nice. So you can protect your, if you're working with somebody, you have anything to do with their hiring process, it's your job to make sure. Now, I've had clients that gave me pushback on this stuff, the W-9 forms. And I'm like, listen, I'm trying to protect you. You know, they would hire people without getting the paperwork. And I'm like, that's it. So your job, my job a lot of times, is to actually protect our clients from themselves. Okay. I count on my team to protect me from myself. Okay. Accounting taxes is complicated. It's easy to make mistakes. I'll show you towards the end on how we try to minimize those mistakes. But you know, I heard a very successful business man. He actually owns a business media company. They publish business journals, magazines, they have shows. And he said any businessman in the United States probably commits a felony every day. Now, I don't know if that's true, but what he was saying is that there's so many rules and regulations. It's really hard. It's really hard. And if you're in the accounting and tax department, it's really your job to keep track of this stuff. You know, one of our team members, I don't know if she's here or she's coming, Tisha, actually helped us discover that W-8BEN, because we have a client that she pays royalties. She has a publishing company, and she had an author that was from another country. She had no ties to the United States. And we found out that, you know, hey, Susie, you were supposed to get this form filled out, but let's get it filled out now. That was a result of Tisha doing her job. And that's what I mean by, you know, saying that my team protects me against myself. Even with 40 years plus of experience, there is no way I can be on top of everything, including when it comes now to the state and local governments. It's become unmanageable. Okay, literally. I'm in other accounting groups, and people with as much or even more experience than me is saying, like, what is going on here? You know, we have a client, I mentioned that she moved to one county in a new state, and that county needed a $25 registration fee. Well, she was going to move to a different county, and they didn't have that registration fee. Elizabeth knows who I'm talking about, right? Well, how are we supposed to know that? The client told us, hey, am I supposed to fill out this form? It's a little embarrassing when the client is asking you to fill out a form that you didn't know, but that happens. It happens all the time. We do our best. I mean, we've gone through every state. We have a whole database. I'm pretty sure Corrine started it, or it's a work in progress. I think everybody's been contributing because we have to do research. And every time we find another form that has to be filled out, we're going to put it in our database. I believe one of the things I'm going to offer everybody, is access to tools like that, because it's really invaluable. So every time somebody starts a business, if it's not a sole proprietor, and I'll explain what that is, you have to register with the Secretary of State. It doesn't start with the IRS. It starts with each state's Secretary of State. They are the ones that are in charge of enforcing that state's laws. So just think about this. We have 50 states, and every state has different rules and regulations. Okay, so, Elizabeth is in charge of setting up our entities and keeping track of all this. Elizabeth, is that an easy job?
It's simple if you love what you do. And I love what I do because I'm paying attention to those details. I like reading the fine print. I like making it so I'm matching what people are doing to the states that they are. I like that people are in compliance and playing nice. Joe's right. I don't want to fight anybody. When I was in the courtroom, I knew that fighting people, because that's how the American courts are. It's people head to head proving a point. Guess what? It's long, it's hard. People do not make friends. It takes forever. The whole system's gummed up. But if we play nice, if we're in compliance, if we're looking at those fine details and making it so our clients are paying attention to those details, it makes it so much simpler. I don't know if simpler is a word. I don't think it is, Joe, but I'm taking simple to the next level.
Here's the thing, and you've taught this to me. There's a lot of stress when it comes to taxes. When, I have a client, got her new client. She's got a pretty substantial business, and she loves doing sales. And it was funny because she's talking about sales, and I changed the subject to accounting, and her face went from happy to, and I said, I wish I took a picture of that, the before and after. So there's a lot of stress when it comes to this. People, business entrepreneurs do not want to talk about their numbers. They're afraid of them. Most of them, it's a different side of the brain. Most people aren't like Elizabeth and me. We love the logic. We love puzzles, putting stuff together. Most people don't. It scares them because they don't understand it. And
so Joe, in the chat, I even mentioned how you guys can take a personality test. One of the things that we do within Bedrock Business Builders to determine if we love what we do or what we're going to do is to take a personality test. At crystalknows.com, I put it in the chat. That's how I knew when we were hiring Thisha that she liked to dot those I's and cross those T's. She loves spreadsheets. That's how she caught that whole Ben 8 form. She's amazing at it. And when you do what you love and you know what you're capable of doing, you'll do it so much better. It releases a type of stress because you lean into your strengths all at the same time.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So I'm making a point here, so another thing that business owners, and a lot of this stuff, they go into business because they love what they're doing and they want to make money. They want the freedom, and they think, oh, I'll be free from my 9 to 5. And they get into it and they're shocked because now they're working from 9 to 9. They're working 24/7. They thought, oh, I was going to have all this freedom, because they get hit with stuff they have no idea about. Payroll and sales tax. It's complicated stuff. So the reason why I bring up the stress part, and it's one of our, fun is one of our core values. We have core values, okay? Because it's the middle of tax season and I don't want to be stressed out. I want to have fun. I don't care if, we have a lot of clients, we're backed up with work. That's a good thing. But if you don't approach it properly, the stress can kill you. It raises your blood pressure, and you can't be effective if you have a lot of stress. So now I'm telling you this, I'm saying this for you, and remember it when you go and work for somebody, because my real job isn't accounting. You think that's what we get paid for. But in the end, my clients love the fact that I just make them feel comfortable. They know that I have their back. They know that if they get a letter, not if, but when, all they got to do is take a snapshot of it and text it to me. And within 20 seconds, I get back to them. I do that because I know what it's like to get one of those letters and not know what to do. When I started early in my CPA career, this is part of my story. I drove an ice cream truck. Okay, it was great. I thought I made money. I thought business was going to be easy. And 3 months into my accounting career, I got a letter from New York State with a big red stamp on it that said tax warrant. And I had no idea what I did. And I was too embarrassed to ask any of the accountants. Now, what it turned out to be was there was one form that I was supposed to fill out to tell them that I was an ice cream man and I wasn't in business anymore. No penalty, no jail time. I didn't get arrested, but I thought I did something really wrong. And that's what people go through. So whatever you're doing, if you're in the numbers business, and this is from my experience, my clients don't care if I know all of the tax code. They don't even know what it means. They don't know what Section 172 is or Section 179. I know, Elizabeth knows because she likes looking that stuff up. They like to know that I care. They want to know that I care and I have their back. Okay? That's the truth. So the knowledge is important. It's important, but in the end, your clients are looking for you to relieve their stress. Whether it's bookkeeping, tax preparation, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now let's get into some of the interesting stuff. The actual stuff, legal structures and tax classifications. So it's not that complicated. People think that it's complicated because they don't understand it. But by the time I get through with this, you're going to know every single legal structure and every tax form that has to be filled out for the different types of businesses. Okay. So the first type of business is called a sole proprietor. Now, what is a sole proprietor? Anybody that wakes up in the morning and decides that they want to make money without going to work. Okay, let me rephrase that. Without getting a job where they get a W-2. Now, what they don't know is that once they do that, all they have to do is take action. They say, oh, I want to start a business. I'm going to go get a business card. They go to the printer to order a business card. They are a sole proprietor. My mother was a sole proprietor. You think she knew that? All she knew was she wanted to make masks for COVID and sell it to her family. It was a hobby. But I said, Ma, you're a sole proprietor. You're under the jurisdiction of the IRS, the state and local government, and you have to keep books and records. You don't have a choice. Anybody, if you're driving an Uber, a Lyft car, if you're selling ice cream, you're a sole proprietor. And it is the worst way to do business in the United States. Okay? You're personally liable for anything that goes wrong with that business. You have no legal protection. I mentioned Social Security taxes. You got to pay 15% of your net profit, which is why a lot of sole proprietors don't file tax returns. They don't even know that they have to pay this until they file their taxes. And the first time that they file, they're like, I don't have the money for this. And what happens is it perpetuates every year. They're like, well, I didn't have the money last year. They're not coming after me, so I just won't file this year. One of the biggest problems the IRS is facing is unfiled returns, people that don't file returns. Now, they don't know if they have to file a return unless they get one of those little 1099 forms. Okay, if you follow the path I'm leading to is, well, before, not all the businesses had to file or just didn't file 1099s because there was nothing the IRS really could do to police them. Well, that's all changed. That's all changed because of technology, because companies like Venmo and PayPal are going to be automatically giving people 1099s. So all of a sudden, the IRS is going to have this army and people that are sole proprietors, a lot of them don't even know that they are going to be subject to paying this. That's not income tax. Income tax is a whole nother tax. And because sole proprietors do these things, they get audited more than anybody. Okay, so that's the first level of business. Now, sole proprietors do not have to register with the IRS. Usually they're required to file with their local government. And again, most of them don't. A lot of them don't because they don't know that they're supposed to. And again, there is no way to police them. Okay, it's a voluntary tax system. Now it's becoming an involuntary tax system. Okay, it was always voluntary. You know, they trusted the American people to file their taxes, and most people do. And so, but the percentage of people that don't is going up, and the number of small businesses is going up exponentially. I think once the internet started, the numbers started, and I don't have the numbers, but I know it went up a lot. So a partnership is a sole proprietor that has more than one person. It's just as bad, okay? Because you still have to pay the 15% of net profits. You still have unlimited legal liability. And again, it's an automatic classification, okay? So that's two. There's two forms of business structures. Now, the LLC is a limited liability company, and an LLP is a limited liability partnership, which is a little bit strange because I'll explain. So an LLC, the first thing to understand is that these are not tax structures, they're legal structures. The IRS does not recognize them. They don't have a form for them. The other ones do. And I'll show you what they are. Okay. So the IRS said, you know, the LLC and LLP, what an LLC is a limited liability company, and they have members, not shareholders. A sole proprietor is just an owner. A partnership are owners, they're partners. An LLC has members. So if you only have one member, the IRS says you're automatically a sole proprietor. If you have more than one member, you're automatically a partnership. So people in the United States have been going out saying, oh, I'm going to be an LLC, not understanding that they get no tax benefits. We change LLCs into corporations all the time. I see my friend Luz here, and she's become an expert at that. I think she's having nightmares about the 8832 and the 2553. So an LLC can have more than one member. So, and that's why it's strange to me that they have LLPs, because an LLP is a limited liability partnership. So maybe Elizabeth could explain that to us, but because it's a legal thing. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
So a partnership is one of those things where, so Partnerships are where two people are together and they are stuck together. If they want to dissolve the partnership, if they want to go anywhere, if they want to do anything, guess what? Sometimes that partnership, it just goes away. There's no like continuing it, right? You're stuck together. A corporation makes it so you have a board and you can have multiple members of your corporation. But guess what? People can contract to leave and go away and do different things. And you can sell parts of that share. LLP is a limited liability professional company. Now there's a distinction between just a regular corporation and a professional corporation. There are people or there's professions in the United States that require licensing, very specific licensing. It requires like doctors, they got to actually be doctors. Lawyers, they got to actually be lawyers. CPAs, they actually got to be CPAs, right? And then when they have that type of practice, so they have an LLC, because an LLC is a corporation that's oftentimes one
Okay,
person.
so I have to interrupt you there. Don't confuse they're not corporations.
There you go. Show me, Joe. What is it?
Okay. Limited liability company. And you're right, there is a designation. So when you have a professional that has to go through state education requirements, they have to be an LLP. Okay, no, actually it's a P, it's a profession, that's a PLLC, professional limited liability company. Okay,
See, Joe, there's so many details to it. I think that's why it's important. Now you have a book that goes through all of the different things with S Corps, right? And what I'm going to put in the chat right now, because everybody's telling me what they love and what they've learned while they're here right now, is I have a free corporations outline that goes through all those differences. All right, because we can sit here and we can go back and forth with it, but ultimately it's a little confusing unless you're taking notes and you are paying attention to the LLP, LLCs, PLL acronyms will be the death of you.
You could see why people in business get confused. And so what happened was the LLC was created, I think about 15, maybe 20 years ago, for very wealthy people to form a company and limit their liability. So it was at the state level, it was a legal entity because they didn't want to be a sole proprietor or a partnership, but they wanted the limited legal liability. So after so many states accepted that, the IRS said, and it took years, but the IRS finally said, okay, we're gonna accept that form of entity. But they came up with these default classifications. So the point is, when somebody comes to you as an LLC or an LLP, they have no tax classification and they don't realize it. And so we get people that are paying a lot of money in taxes, and this is what it comes down to again. 15% to Social Security. I'll keep saying that because that's a substantial amount of money. If you get somebody making $50,000 a year in the United States, that's not a lot of money. Okay, believe it or not, I mean, it costs a lot of money, especially where I live in Long Island. I'm near New York City. If you're making 50,000 a year, you're like barely making it. Okay, believe it or not. So you get a bill, you say, oh, I made 50,000. You get a bill for 7,500. Well, now you just lost 75 and you're down to 42.5 before you even start paying taxes, income taxes. So the solution to that is you can elect to be taxed as a corporation. So if you think about it, what I've been talking about is you can be a sole proprietor or a partnership. You don't have a choice. You're automatically that. If you're an LLC or an LLP, you're automatically still a sole proprietor or a partnership. So what's your last choice? The last choice is to become a corporation. So a corporation is a separate legal entity. Okay, the United States actually treats corporations as a person. corporations can get indicted, they can be fined. It's kind of bizarre if you ask me, but it went through the courts, and that's how they designated it. They said they are a separate legal entity, separate and distinct from the owners. So like Elizabeth was saying, owners of corporations are shareholders. They're not owners. They're not partners. They own shares in a company. So now you might be familiar with public companies. Public companies are large companies that sell shares to shareholders. Those shareholders have no legal responsibility if that company, like Enron, if you ever remember that, if that company does something illegal, nobody can go back and sue the shareholders. So people that have money that do investments, they like that. They're like, oh, I can invest in these companies and all I have to worry about is if they're making money or not. See, when you're a partner in a partnership, you got to worry about what your partner's doing. If you don't have insurance and you're a sole proprietor, you could lose your house, you could lose your personal assets. When you're a corporation, you don't have to worry about that unless you're doing something criminal. If you're doing something criminal, you still have to worry about it. Okay, but as far as, if there's insurance claims, if somebody wants to sue the corporation because the corporation owes them money, they can only sue the corporation. They can't sue the owners. That's what we call limited legal liability. Now, corporations, regular corporations, get taxed. Okay, there's a corporate level tax at the federal and state level. Okay, so now what happens is, let's say a corporation makes $50,000, the tax rate is 15%, they pay $7,500, so there's $42,500 left over. Okay, now the owners can either keep that money in the corporation and invest it, or they could take it out. If they take it out, it's called dividends. So big public companies pay dividends. Well, then the owners have to pay taxes on the dividends. That's called double taxation. Okay. That's not good for a small business owner. Okay, small business owners are counting every dollar. So they're like, this isn't good for me. So in 1958, the government, they saw there was a big gap between rich people and poor people. The rich people own corporations because they could afford to pay the taxes. They could afford fancy lawyers, fancy accountants, and the sole proprietors, because that's all you had. You either had a corporation, a partnership, or a sole proprietorship. It was hard to break that barrier. It was hard to, you had to really work to become successful and become a corporation. So that's when in 1958, they came up with this concept called an S corporation. That's a small business corporation. Now, the difference is there is no federal or state level income tax on an S Corp. S Corps are limited, you can't have, 1,000 shareholders. You can only have 100. There's limits to who can own an S Corp. But for the most part, our clients are all small businesses. So 98% of our clients are S Corps. Okay. We got a few LLPs because they are financial companies. It's a whole nother complicated regulatory issue. But for the most part, the most logical legal structure for a small business is an S Corp. Now, I wrote a little book about this because when I discovered this is what I discovered. And this is why I launched Bedrock Business Builders. At the time, there were 30 million businesses in the United States. 25 million of them were classified as sole proprietors. That made absolutely no sense to me. Why would somebody want to be a sole proprietor and pay all that money in taxes, get audited by the IRS, have no legal protection? It's because they didn't know. They don't know. That's why I went on YouTube, on Facebook. My job, my purpose in life became to educate people about the dangers of being a sole proprietor. Because to me, it's simple. You see, there's only a couple of different choices, and that's what it comes down to. It comes down to having a choice. Okay, it's about taking control of your business. If you want to be a sole proprietor, fine. You know what the ramifications are, what it's going to cost you. Okay. The reason why I didn't know so many people were sole proprietors is because when I worked in the CPA world, anybody that came to me, we just made them S Corps. All of our clients were S Corps. When I started doing some research about small businesses, that's when I came across that statistic, and it was shocking. And ever since then, I've been on a mission to tell the world that you don't have to be a sole proprietor anymore. Okay. So how do you become an S Corp? Well, the people that come to us and they say, oh, I'm an LLC. I said, great, we're going to make you an S Corp. So the steps are, first thing you got to do is you got to tell the IRS you want to be a corporation. That's Form 8832. The second step is to file a form to tell the IRS, I'm a corporation and I want to be taxed as an S Corp. Now, most states accept the IRS election. You don't have to file with the state. Where I am in New York State, you have to file a separate election. Okay, so you got to be aware, anything you do, you got to be aware of the state ramifications. So it's not that complicated. Luz can do these in about 5 minutes now. That's the whole form. I think there's a couple of other questions. That's the entity classification election. Just about all of them, we fill out the same info. Sometime now there's a time limit on when these have to be filed, but the IRS, I don't know if you see my cursor here, but underneath the name and address, there's a couple of boxes, and one of them is for late classification. So you actually have up to 3.5 years, depending on the circumstances, to file this. And we do it all the time. This is the form for the S Corp election. Okay. Again, you're supposed to file this election 75 days after you incorporate. Most people don't do that. They forget, they don't know. So the IRS, about 10 years ago, they got tired of arguing with people that forgot, because some people hired lawyers, they would go to court. And the IRS finally said, if you just tell us that, you got bad advice, something happened to your accountant and it wasn't filed for whatever reason, we'll give you a break. So now we're almost done, folks. I'm gonna go through quickly what the actual tax returns are that each entity legal structure has to file. The first one, well, this is what almost every person in the United States has to file. If you have a business, you definitely have to file this. So now the 1040, this is a personal income tax return. It includes the Schedule C, okay? The Schedule C is your profit and loss. Now, this is for a sole proprietor. So this is part of the problem that sole proprietors have, because their business is commingled with their personal. And when we talk about books and records, one of the biggest mistakes people make when they come to us is they're commingling their business expenses with their personal expenses. That's why the IRS likes to audit them. When they ask them for their books and records, they have no idea what they're talking about. for the most part. Okay, but in my experience, the people that know what they're doing aren't sole proprietors, unless they got a very small business and they got a 1099 and they said, I'm not paying, you know, if they make $5,000 or $10,000, they got a little side gig. They might say, you know what, I'm just going to pay the tax. I don't want to, but you know, I've seen people make hundreds, almost a couple of them were making millions and we're still sole proprietors doing their own tax returns. Those are the people that get audited. So that's the Schedule C, and you could see there's no balance sheet on this. It's just your profit and loss. So it's very simple. It's very simple. And these people, they buy something like TurboTax and they're doing it themselves. And TurboTax has provided so many clients for me. It's unbelievable because it's like everybody that uses TurboTax does it wrong. It's not that simple. This is the partnership return. So you'll see that there's similarities to all of these. Once you get a balance sheet and a P&L down, once you know how to do bookkeeping and accounting, because they're different, but once you have a balance sheet and a P&L, I could teach anybody how to do a tax return. Believe it or not, the kind of people, the kind of businesses that we handle is very simple to do the tax returns. Now, there's a lot of complicated questions on here, on the other pages, but 95% of them don't apply to our kind of clients. They're asking if you did any kind of mergers and acquisitions, if you have any publicly traded debt. I mean, our clients just don't have that stuff. So I have taught a lot of people how to do tax returns. And a lot of the biggest reason is because I don't want to do them. If I could teach somebody else how to do the balance sheet and P&L and then just put the numbers on these tax returns, it's a lot easier for me. I have a lot less stress and I get to have fun in our mastermind on Fridays. So this is a corporate return. Okay, you could see it's the same income and expenses. The only difference is down here on line 31, there's a spot to put taxes. Well, we don't like that. We don't like that. So that's why we do S Corps. So this is the S Corp return. Okay. Now, S Corps are subject to taxes in very limited circumstances. It has to do with if you're selling an asset, you have something called built-in gains. I've had it one time in 40 years. But for the most part, what happens in S Corp and a partnership are what they call flow-through entities. So I want to go back for a second. So a flow-through entity winds up on one line on the tax return. It's on Schedule 1. Where is Schedule 1 on here? Somewhere on here. Okay, add lines, adjustments. Okay, take my word for it. I don't remember what line it is, but it's just one line. So all the IRS sees when they look at your personal tax return is a number that came from here. And it's whatever is on line 21. This is very powerful for a business owner because this is where it separates their business from their personal. People that have S Corps do not get audited. I've had 3 of them in 40 years, and each one was because they had cockamamie, crazy things on their tax returns. But the kind of clients that we have, the IRS doesn't want to waste their time with an S Corp that's grossing $200,000 because on the bottom here is where I sign the return. You see, most of the people that have S Corps have an accountant. And the IRS is saying, well, if they already have an accountant, they probably have books and records. We're not going to waste our time. when they look at the 1040 return and the Schedule C and they sign the return themselves, I mean, if you were running the IRS, who would you go after? They're like, we don't have enough people. We got to audit them. We got to collect money. We're better off going to the Schedule Cs. Well, unfortunately now, they are going to be hiring those 80,000 people. And my prediction is they are going to be auditing S Corps. So our job is to prepare our clients, teach them about bookkeeping and accounting. Now, when I say teach them, I don't want to make them accountants. I want to teach them the basic financial reports. Now, I believe some of you are accountants already. You might know this, but again, I could teach anybody how to put together an income statement and a balance sheet. Okay, I've done it hundreds of times. And the way that you do it is very simple. You create an accounting system. Now, our accounting system, you'll hear us all the time. Elizabeth mentioned it. We keep it simple. Now, our clients usually come to us. They a lot of times they're sole proprietors or they're LLCs, and they're confused. And they have 15 credit cards. They have 3 bank accounts. They're commingling everything. So what we do is we create accounting systems for them. And what I mean by that is we tell them to stop using their business accounts. Sometimes we have to actually show them how to open a business account. We'll incorporate them. We'll get them a federal tax ID number, and we'll tell them, go to the bank and open up a bank account. And that's where they're going to do all of their business. So now if you compartmentalize their business transactions, it becomes easier for us. All we need is their statements. Now, unfortunately, the way technology is, we're going to be asking for a lot of different statements, not just their bank statements, their credit card statements, and now even like their Venmo, their PayPal. We might even ask a client for their Amazon accounts because they can buy stuff. I buy stuff from Amazon. And we're going to be teaching them that, sometimes when you buy from Amazon, you can use 2 different types of payment methods. If you're buying personal stuff, you want to use your personal account. If you're buying business stuff, you use your business account. So these are some of the things that we're teaching our clients, because we still see a lot of personal expenses going through their business. Going forward, we want to avoid that. Now, the way we do it is simple. Again, we have different levels because we have different kinds of clients. Most of them, I'd say 90% are on this free software called Wave apps. Now, we don't let our clients go in there for 2 reasons. Number one, the clients mess up their books. Okay. They just mess up their books. They want to just see it. They want to play with it. They want to know what's going on. But we found it to be a problem. So we don't invite them into Wave unless they absolutely insist on it. And then we just give them view access. They can only view transactions. They can't change anything. Okay. The other reason is because Wave is owned by H&R Block. If you don't know who H&R Block is, they're one of the largest tax preparation firms in the world. They're our competition. They do returns for dirt cheap, but they do a terrible job at it. They've never entered the business world until now. They do mostly personal returns. So I don't want our clients going in there and getting pitched by H&R Block all the time. It's really a pain. They have pop-ups. So we don't let them into Wave. Now, our company is on QBO, QuickBooks Online, because we needed a higher level of detail. Okay. So we use QuickBooks Online, and then we get clients that come to us that are larger and they already have QuickBooks Desktop. Okay, again, it's because they're doing a lot of business. Some of them are doing up to $1 million. They already have all of their information in QuickBooks. So rather than switch them over to a different system, we just have QuickBooks on our server. Okay. So that's how we do it. Now, payroll, you could make a career just on doing payroll because it's so complicated in the United States and it's so important. Now, we stayed away from doing payroll for a long time because of the compliance issues. It's got its own set of compliance issues. But unfortunately, there weren't too many companies that could handle our kind of clients. The big companies like ADP and Paychex, they're fine if you have 50 or more employees. But for our clients, which are mostly one-person S Corps, their prices were way too high and they just don't pay attention. So we started doing payroll through QuickBooks Online. They have a service where the taxes can get paid, the forms are paid, and it's another thing Luz became an expert on. Okay, so we process payroll, and you could become a payroll company. Think about it. One of the things, there's a big need for it. I just had, Elizabeth, somebody that was in our mastermind today, Teresa, called me, and she has her son's business, you know, the restaurant. They have 30 employees. She wants us to do the payroll. So that's a service we can do as a standalone service. We don't have to do their accounting. We don't have to do their taxes. We can just do their payroll. Okay, so that's a big thing. So, and payroll is big. Every state has their own laws, their own forms. So payroll is something that if you're thinking about getting into the tax business and you don't like balance sheets and QuickBooks, you can set up your own payroll company. Or you could do one of the people I taught early on, I taught her bookkeeping and payroll, and she actually got a job for a company doing 100-person payroll. That's a lot of payroll. Okay, that was a full-time job. So I've talked about, so here's some of the issues that you run into with payroll. Businesses want to pay people as independent contractors. I pay Elizabeth, she's an independent contractor. I don't have to pay payroll taxes for her. She's responsible for her own taxes. Okay, that's the difference. If I made her an employee, I would have to file all kinds of forms. I got to register, I got to pay the taxes. It's not easy for a small business owner to do that. Okay, that's why they usually go to an outside company. And these small business owners, if they're going to ADP, they're overpaying. I'll give you an example. A one-person company, one payroll, even if it's once a month, they're going to be paying $100 a month. Plus, they hit them up for extra fees at the end of the year for like doing a W-2, which is ridiculous. I'm like, it's done automatically. It's done by the computer. And they'll charge a company $70 just to do that. So you could go in there and say, I'll do it for $50 a month. QuickBooks will charge you about $30. So you make a $20 profit, and it will take you, and Luz could attest to this, it might take you 15 minutes once you have the system down. Okay. You have to register. This is another thing that's one. So if one person is doing something, it's hard. If you're doing it for 20 different clients, it becomes easy. Okay. You got to pay the taxes and you got to file forms. Again, if you're using a company like QuickBooks, like Intuit, it's easy. It's really easy because they have support. They tell you what to do when the taxes are due. So, you know, that's another business. You could either do the tax business and payroll, or you can just do payroll, or you could just do bookkeeping. It's up to you. Again, it's, you know, based on your personality. What do you like? So now I just want to spend a couple of minutes on our system, because our system is unique. We're not like a typical accounting firm, not like a typical tax preparation firm. Our business was built around the needs of those sole proprietors, those small businesses. And like I said before, I could not do it myself. This is our team now. It's growing. We're still hiring accountants. We still need social media people. I lost track of what we need. But without these people, I wouldn't be able to do this. I would be all stressed out. I wouldn't be having fun. I would be inputting tax returns right now on a Friday night instead of giving a workshop. So it all starts with the marketing. Okay, now my marketing, our marketing is geared mostly towards our existing clients, believe it or not. My team might be surprised, but we do something called send out cards. We send all of our clients a birthday card and they get brownies. Okay, why? Because we like keeping our business in front of them. For some reason, they love getting those brownies. I love it too. I got brownies from my company for Valentine's Day. Okay. Elizabeth likes getting brownies. Even Tisha's grandmother, I think, got brownies. So
Joe, those brownies, everybody loves them. My kids love the brownies. My brothers love the brownies. All right. They go through the whole family. I'm not even joking. And if it's not shared, because we'll get 4 of them at once, people are taking names and want to know
I hope
where their brownie is.
I hope they're not fighting.
If Uncle Kip doesn't get one,
No, not fighting. Come on. They all are looking for the brownie though. They see the box.
Okay, so why do we do it? Most of our business comes from existing clients. When you do the right thing for your clients, they know, like, and trust you. They want to send their friends to you, their friends and their family, because believe it or not, they feel like they're doing their friends a favor. They're like, oh, you got to talk to this guy, Joe. He's unbelievable. And I've had that all the time, my whole career, but it's happening a lot more now. And I attribute that to those brownies. Believe it or not, if I knew that 20 years ago, I would have been baking brownies for my clients. Now, once they connect with us, we have a whole system, Corrine, Elizabeth, Janine, I can't believe how easy it is for us to onboard a client. If you can imagine, before I would meet with the client, find out what they need, do a proposal, get it back to them. It was hours. Now I can spend 15 minutes with them. We send them a link. They fill out this form. We get I have all their information before I even speak to them. Then they get an email from Corrine where we link them up with our secure server. Now, this is important. The clients like the fact that we're protecting their information. Okay, there's a lot of fraud, a lot of people trying to get their personal information, and we have it. So now we spend a lot of time and effort protecting it. Okay, that's the data protection. A lot of what we're doing now, it's stuff that I never had to do in the past. A lot of it is communicating with our clients, making not just myself, but my team available. I've had issues with clients that they, for one reason or another, we bang heads. I send them to Elizabeth. Okay, and Elizabeth smooths them over. She keeps the client. My team has a rule. They say keep the clients away from Joe. Okay, and that's a good thing. I like to talk to clients when I'm teaching them, when I'm solving a problem. But if they have a complaint about something or they need something, they go to my team. Okay, they don't have to come to me saying, "Oh, how do I?" They'll come. My own kids do this. Oh, I lost a link for the the portal. So I just give them Corinne's email. So we're constantly, and in fact, we're going to be doing bi-weekly or what is it? Every other week, we're going to be doing client-only workshops to teach them a lot of the stuff that I just went through today. Every week we have a team meeting, which is a lot of fun, right? And I do a lot of one-on-one meetings with my team and department meetings. We have a marketing meeting every week. We have an accounting meeting. And that's what makes us superheroes. Oh, I missed that. What the heck? Okay, sorry. We have some technical. Ah, okay. I'm sorry, I skipped over. This is my favorite thing. So Janine, if you join our team, you become a superhero. Okay, so let's talk about the opportunity for you. We talked about the perfect storm. We have the shortage of accountants. We have a lot of people that need help. It's a complex system. It's a complex system, but it can be taught. It can be taught. I've taught plenty of people how it works. And what we decided to do with Marianne's help, and I want to thank you again, Marianne, for inviting your group. We are going to be doing a whole certification program. So we are offering this to people to become a certified bedrock business builder. Okay, I'm getting a tongue twister here. But this is what we're offering. Okay, it's going to be intensive training. If you know anything about me and my team, one of our core values is going above and beyond. If somebody signs up for our service, we guarantee that you're gonna, I want people to be proud. I want to be proud of telling people how many certified bedrock business builders we have. That's the objective. I want a lot of clients, but I'm smart enough to know that there's only so many clients that I can handle, that my team can handle. I want to see an army of trained bookkeepers and accountants out there, because I'm being honest, there are millions and millions of people that need this service. So we are going to cover all of the things that we covered. You know, this was just an overview. This will be, it's not free. We can't do it for free. It's a lot of time and effort. This is the regular price. So what we're going to do is to go through the whole program will be $297, or you can just take a section. Let me go back to that. So if you already know accounting and record keeping systems, you don't have to do that. I would suggest that you do all of them. If you're not interested in our system and
Is it just me or did Joe freeze? Can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. Oh, wow, that's exciting. Woohoo. So, oh, good. Joe must have dropped out for a second. Joe froze. Again, I cannot believe that there are so many people in this room. There's 122 people still in this room. I can say that I graduated law school. All right. I spent over $300,000 on my education. I'm not joking. That's dead serious. $300,000 to get my law degree. Joe, with working with him over the last 2 years, has taught me way more than what I learned in law school for taxes and for actual applicable. Like, it's one thing to learn about taxes.
Okay.
Oh, here he is. See, Joe, what I was just telling them was that I spent $300,000 on my law degree, right? But within the last 2 years, I'd have to admit that you have taught me more practical things about business and about how to do bookkeeping, record keeping, to make it so our clients, and so it's more tangible, I gotta admit. So we are always spending money on our education. We are always learning. And that's what I got with that. But you can share your screen again. I think I can make you co-host again.
Okay.
I got other people still coming into the room.
Mom,
Can you see that?
We can see that. I think you're talking about special offers, which is great. I
Yeah,
like special
so-
offers.
I mentioned before, we have hundreds, and I mean, literally, I can't, Elizabeth finds some of these tools that I made years ago. We have hundreds of templates, from, calculating how to pay yourself to, fixed asset depreciation, amortization schedules, all stuff that I've used and I'm still using. I got this really cool budget tool that Elizabeth likes. I actually use it to, and that's something that we teach our clients. It came up in our mastermind meeting today about, do you want to, categorize your personal expenses? And I said, only if you want to know where you're spending your money. But also what we're going to offer is anybody that goes through the course, because I want everybody to succeed, we will work on your own business plan. Now, this is what I don't think everybody knows. Instead of committing to anything right now, we have an option, okay, and we're still putting the details of this together. You can secure those prices for only $20. Okay, so if you go to this link, and Elizabeth, if you could put the link in the chat, if you or Kareen haven't already, that's the offer. I don't think I could make it any better. I do want all of you to sign up. I would love to work with all of you. And if you can't do it for whatever reason, if you can't afford it, just reach out, and we'll figure something out. At the very least, I could tell you everybody is invited to our Friday mastermind, which is free. This is our information. You can all go to bedrockbusinessbuilders.com if you want to learn more about us. Elizabeth, if you could put the link to our YouTube channel, I would love to have people subscribe.
I will do that again. I did that earlier because I reminded people that Joe has a lot of trainings, even just on YouTube. They're very helpful. I know that when Joe was doing a lot of his lives right in the beginning, I would ask him a ton of questions, and he was always answering those questions for me. So that is there. Right now, I've got everybody in the chat telling me, if you can tell me that I am worth it, I'm going to share that Bedrock Business Builders budgeting thing. I've already shared the onboarding system, right? And I've already shared the corporation's outline. I've shared lots of different things, the links in the chat, right? Remember that ... we talked about earlier. Go to that ... save the chat, make sure you've got those links. It's real important. We do have a recording that's going to go out again, but whatever you are doing, however you are doing this virtual assistant thing, this working from home, remember that you're worth what you're doing. It's up to you to take control of it. And if you can do that, you can do anything that you put your mind to. I'm not joking about that. Seriously, you can really do anything online now. And there's so many tools, there's so many resources, there's so many things out there that you can learn. You don't necessarily, like I did. How long ago is it now? Joe, I'm going to date myself right here because I graduated law school in 2010, right? And it was literally $300,000. All right. You don't have to do that anymore. You can be very particular about what you learn. You can be very particular about your niche, and you can be incredibly profitable with it. And I think that that's the important takeaway, is the way that people learn now is so much different than necessarily going to a university. That university, that title doesn't hold as much value as the people that you serve and the people that you help, because the more people you serve make it so you are more valuable. That's what people remember. That's how you get testimonials. That's how you make an impact. It's not so much about the titles and the backgrounds or even the certificates. Certificates are helpful. Working with Bedrock Business Builders changed my life. I've never had so much money in my bank account. I have never stood up for myself the way that I've ever done before. I've never had so much fun. And it is because I worked with Joe. It is because I work within Bedrock Business Builders. It is because of our team. Our team is just, they're not just our team. They are family to me. They are my friends. They are the people that I talk to every day. And without them, I would have to admit, I'd be pretty lonely. All right. I'm not joking, Joe. I'm very serious about that.
I
It's
believe
not
it.
just
I
the
feel
brownies.
the same way.
So
Well, any questions?
I
I
don't
see a
know.
lot of people that are worth it. That's awesome. And I see a lot of people still here. Thank you.
There were some questions earlier, Joe, about the distinction between an S Corp, a corporation, and an LLC, and how to actually be distinguished as an S Corp, you have to fill out extra paperwork for that, right?
Yeah, that's so the first thing you have to do, first of all, okay, keep this simple. The LLC is not recognized by the IRS. Okay, so people, they form as an LLC at the state level. The IRS doesn't care. They just simply literally don't care. They're like, okay, so you're an LLC. When you file your return, we don't have a form for you. So you're going to be, if there's only one person, you're a sole proprietor, you're going to pay the 15% self-employment tax, also known as the Social Security tax. If you have more than one person, you're going to fill out the 1065, which is for partnerships. So if you're an LLC, you have the option of telling the IRS you don't like those options and you want to be taxed as a corporation. That's the first thing. So a corporation is different than an LLC. It's a separate legal entity. An LLC is a separate legal entity for legal purposes, not for tax purposes. That's important. A corporation is a separate legal entity for everything. It's not tied to you personally. Okay, the only way it's tied to you is that you own stock in that corporation. Now, the difference between a corporation, if you're just a sole proprietor or a partnership, you incorporate at the state level. Okay, so at the state level, either you tell the state that you want to be an LLC, an LLP, or a corporation. Elizabeth does that for us. So people come to us and they say, okay, well, they don't know that they want to be a corporation until we tell them. So we'll make them a corporation. If they come to us as an LLC, we'll tell the IRS we want to be a corporation. So now, if you know you want to be a corporation, you tell the state or you tell the IRS. Okay, if that makes sense to you. Okay, I'll say that one more time. If you tell the state you want to be once you're an LLC, you're always an LLC for legal purposes. You have the option of telling the IRS you want to be taxed as a corporation. So now the corporation has its own tax bracket. So the corporation still has to pay taxes. And then if the owner, the shareholder, wants to take profits out, they got to pay taxes again. So there's double taxation. That's what distinguishes an S Corp from a regular corporation. The S Corp has no tax. The the profit flows through to the shareholder. Now, to become an S Corp is very simple. You fill out Form 2553 and you send it to the IRS. And that's the difference between those three types of entities. Any other questions?
That was that was the focus of the question, distinguishing that. I think that's one of the most confusing things that we wind up doing, and it makes it so when we're filing corporations as S Corps, it saves them a lot of money. It's one of the first starting points, right? When we're working with clients, is to make sure that the structure of what they're doing is okay. And this is where it can be really difficult to advise a client on what type of structure they should have for tax purposes. And I'm going to tell everybody who's in this room that we have people that don't do any accounting. They don't do any bookkeeping. They don't do any all they do is they refer clients to Bedrock as an affiliate. And guess what? They get a fee. They make money that way too. So you don't have to know all the ins and outs sometimes. Sometimes maybe you aren't licensed yet. Maybe you don't know so much bookkeeping. Maybe you aren't ready to go out on your own. But this is where Bedrock Business Builders can be your team too. I talked about us being a family, a firm foundation. We are a firm foundation to start. We are a firm foundation to make it so you can refer clients to us if you're not sure how to do something. You can bring us payroll clients. You can bring us bookkeeping clients, accounting clients, right? And then you'd still profit off of it. Because maybe you don't know how to do it yet. Maybe you're not done with the course, but become certified, get the course. And you know what? Then those bookkeeping or accounting clients, you can get them yourself. You can use the system. That's the whole point of it, is that we don't necessarily believe that competition is really competition. We're not butting heads with them, right? We're collaborating. There is always a lot of clients. The amount of availability with people, there's no limit to it. So we talked about H&R Block. H&R Block, yeah, they are competition, but you know what? I think sometimes we get the most clients, just like Joe said, from H&R Block and TurboTax. Do you know why? Because they mess up. Because someone goes on to H&R Block and TurboTax and they look at what they're asking them and they say, oh my goodness, I have no idea how to do any of this. So let me instead just let Joe take care of it. I'll let Bedrock Business Builders do it. And so that's how we all work together.
Let's talk about what's going to happen when people register. I think they're going to get an email. And then what we're going to do, because we're still putting together the details, we're going to have a meeting where people could just ask us questions, and we're going to lay out the whole program and do it that way. It's going to start, I think, the first week in May. And before we start, we'll be sending, little tidbits of information, worksheets. And again, we'll always be available to answer any questions that you have. And that's it. So I hope you register and I get to work with you. And that's it. Thank you for attending. Anything else, Elizabeth?
Well, the one thing I need to do for all the people who stayed here is I have to share the bookkeeping, the budget spreadsheet. All right. Because guess what? If you never have a budget, you're never actually saving anything, or you don't know your numbers. The numbers are what is really important. So I said, if you kept telling me that you are worth it, I'm going to help you figure out your budget. I'm going to help you make it so you know that you can spend the money on yourself to further yourself, to make it so you can learn more things, to make it so you can even help your clients. So I'm putting that in the chat right now. It is a Google document. All right. You have to request permission to get it. Request permission. Give us the permission. All right. I'll give it to you. You can copy it. You can do things with it. But one of the things that I will tell you about this spreadsheet, or about any of the tools or resources that we shared today, is that it helps to have people you can ask questions to. All right. It helps to be able to say, Joe, how do I do this? Or how do I do that? And that's what the certification program is for. All right. It's to help, it's to continue asking those questions. It's to have that one-on-one or the group collaborative together, and it will help you. We are here to help each other. We need you, you need us. It's a perfect win-win situation. Joe always likes to talk about how everybody's win-win. I win, you win, we all win. Hot dog.
So,
And even within the certificate program, Joe said that we have jobs that still need to be filled. We also know that our clients have jobs that still need to be filled. After you're done with the certification program, we are all about putting your profile up on Bedrock Business Builders and making it so you can be seen. That's another benefit.
is Mary Ann still here? I'd like to let her, because she arranged all this, if she could say a couple of words.
Yes, Joe, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, Mary Ann.
yeah. So, yeah, guys, it's a great deal and good deal. So, as you all know, we have to really invest in ourselves. I think it's a best deal ever. If you compare to other courses that you see online, this is the most cheapest courses that I saw. So, and then encourage everyone to attend, not only in our group, future bookkeeper, aspiring bookkeeper, that also ask, especially the newbie who's asking how to become a freelancer. This is a great opportunity for all of us, and grab this kind of opportunity to really serve you as clients. So grab this opportunity, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Ann. All right. I think we're finished, Elizabeth.
I believe we are finished, unless some people want to hear from Luz and other team members. Joe, you said that you
Okay.
might call on them.
Okay.
Our team members, does anybody want to unmute and say something? Karine, do you want to say something else? Do you want to help close us out for a minute? I think I've got to make it so you can unmute. I have to ask you to unmute, all right? This is where it gets really technical because I've got everybody chatting me. I've got all these things going on.
All right, so thank you everyone for being here and for attending the course. I've pasted the link to avail of or if you want to enroll in the certification course, it's in the chat. I believe it's $197 for exclusively for Marian's group. Am I right, Joe?
Yes.
Yeah, so the original rate is $297, but for you guys, we're going to give it at $197. So that's a very good deal. You'll get to learn everything that we're doing. It's actual work. So it will be very helpful for you, for everyone, especially if you want to start up your career in the virtual world. If you want to, get a lot of clients, earn a lot, and become rich. So that's actually one of our main goals here, right? So you can access I'm gonna put the link in the chat again, and there's one attendee who is actually asking for the course outline. I believe we can send it out via email, right?
Yes.
By next week, so you can see the specifics of the course.
Somebody asked when it was going to start. I believe it's going to be the first week in March. May, because we're still in the middle of tax season, and I want to give everything that I can to it. We're going to have what do they call it, office hours, so people can come and just ask questions. We're going to be meeting probably three times a week. It's going to be recorded. It's better if you come to the live meeting because then you can interact with us. But some people, the last time I taught the bookkeeping course, my brother-in-law and a college student actually did it through the recordings, and they learned how to do bookkeeping. So, you can do it any way that you want, whatever works for you. And I know you can, hopefully everybody becomes rich, but you can definitely make money doing this. I know Janine, our our webmaster here, she shared with us last night that she wants to make 100,000 a year. And she wants to go on vacation for a year, fully paid. So Janine, you'll never, I'll torture you with that for forever. And I want to make it happen. I want to make it happen. So you want to say hi, Janine? Janine was our first, well, after, so Elizabeth doesn't count, but Janine was our first hire from the Philippines. She jumped through hoops. She's grown tremendously in her job. And I think personally, I see all new woman, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of Corinne. I'm proud of the whole team. So how are you, Janine?
Thanks for that, Joe. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for attending the course training of Bedrock Business Builders. We're so happy that you are all here. We have almost 120 plus attendees. And I'm pretty sure that you all learned a lot from Joe, because Joe is the man when it comes to accounting and taxes. So if you want to have a mentor, just ask Joe. You can book a chat with him. And also, we're hoping that we will still see you on the next training course, the deep dive training. So it's very a great opportunity.
Thank you, Janine. So there's two questions. No, there's no age limit. You could be 3, you could be 93 to take the course. And no, we're not putting a deadline on it. That's why if you want to lock into that 197, you can put the $20 deposit. If you're not sure about it yet, that's a refundable deposit. My team will kill me for doing that, but I just want to give everybody the option to, lock it in at that price. We will have another mini workshop before the course starts. So you could lock it in for only $20 and then make a decision later. Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, I'm a fan of hers too.
You know, Bella is always watching.
Oh, she's going to become a great accountant. I could see it. She's learning by listening.
She is. And this is where when we learn something when we're young, when we learn something when we're old, there is no age limit to it. You can do this type of stuff when you're young, you can do it when you're old. And Janine, I think your daughters are all like, your daughter is also into doing things like her own business. Like she does things on TikTok. And I put it in the chat and Janine might not know it yet, but she's amazing at marketing and design. And there is a marketing and design part of the certification program. And I'm pretty sure that Janine is going to help us with that. All right. She made all of the slides that Joe did today. Okay.
She also made us all superheroes.
The superhero thing is cool. But one of the things that I have to say is that Janine oftentimes is controlling our script. Okay. That's what those slides are doing. She is controlling our script and what we are doing. There is no limit to what you can learn and what you can apply. When Janine first started, she did not necessarily think she was doing accounting or bookkeeping, but she probably knows Bedrock system better than anybody else. But it isn't necessarily all on her. And that's the benefit of Bedrock, is that it's not on any one person's shoulders. We are all a team and we all work together. So what's going to be the time schedule of the course? So this course is definitely geared towards people in the Philippines, all right? Because we're going to hold it at night, our night. Me and Joe, we're in New York. The course itself.
Actually, I think a lot of people, and we're going to talk to Marianne about this, I think a lot of people work. So whatever the schedule is, we're going to accommodate the students.
There you go. That's a better way to put it, Joe.
Yeah.
Like
so
I'm okay at night or during the day.
Yeah.
But it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I would do the $20. So there's a question, is there a deadline for, I would do it before I change my mind.
That's a good way to put that, Joe. So I'm gonna make it so we are all gallery view. If anybody has any open questions, I'm actually gonna make it so people can unmute themselves. All right, is that okay with you, Joe? Do you mind doing
Yeah.
that?
yeah.
Okay,
And I like put the link in for the mastermind. We have had a couple of Marianne's members join. I know Bon, I don't know if Bon is in the meeting tonight. But we had a great conversation the other night. So everybody's invited to the mastermind, and that's where we play the party. Jeopardy is the party, and we have a lot of fun.
it's a good networking opportunity with people in the United States and people in Canada and even Europe. It's not like we just have our own clients in the mastermind. 'cause we
Actually,
market it wide.
we should bring up the fact that we're becoming international. So you don't even have to, the whole world needs bookkeeping. And, I know the US tax laws, but you could become a tax expert in New Zealand. That's where we have a couple of clients. In the UK. I mean, you don't have to limit yourself to the United States, believe it or not. And we actually have a really good question here. What is your insight about being an enrolled agent? So if you don't know, an enrolled agent takes a very hard test with the IRS. You got to study. It's not an easy test. And I have a lot of respect for enrolled agents because they only focus on taxes. You see, I'm a CPA, and people are under the impression that all CPAs know taxes. That's not true. CPAs, what that means is that you're certified to do audits, financial audits. Okay. It also gives us the privilege of working directly with the IRS and some other things. But I know plenty of CPAs that don't do taxes. But an enrolled agent is a very special, important designation. And we need more enrolled agents. So what I don't know, and we could find out, is if you have to be a US citizen to be an enrolled agent. I believe that you probably have to be, but we could find out. But that's a great question. Thank you for that.
Joe, you don't have to be a US citizen to be an
Really?
enrolled agency.
Wow.
Mhm.
We have a question here. Is it applicable to non-accountant?
That what?
Non-accountant, meaning not accounting graduate, not finance graduate, those people who want to learn this course.
Anybody can be an accountant. Okay, it's not, so there's no special designation to call yourself an accountant. There's no special designation to call yourself a bookkeeper. Okay, you could go and get like a bedrock certification. I mean, that it's not like it doesn't mean something, but it's not like a CPA where you have to go through an educational, like an institution. To become an enrolled agent, you have to go through the IRS. I didn't know that you didn't have to be a citizen. That's huge, because I would like to make that part of our course where we could introduce people to how to become an enrolled agent. But that's a great question. The accounting thing is a great question. I like questions. I like a lot of questions, and I like dogs too. Hi, Corinne. I love that. I love your doggy.
He says hello to everyone.
What's his name?
Her name is Bailey.
Oh, hi. Hey, Bailey. How are you? We're gonna make you famous. Now that she's on the workshop, you can write her off as a tax deduction. That's one of the things we teach people.
That's true. And that's the benefit of coming to the mastermind. So a lot of times in the mastermind, we're playing games. I didn't do a party board right now, I have to admit, because there's so many people in the room. And also, we have already been talking for 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
I can't believe that time flies when you're having fun. And that's one of the things that happens within Bedrock is that time flies and we have a lot of fun because that's my job. If anybody has any more questions, please feel free to send them along. Yeah, you get emails from Karine, you get emails from Joe. Save the chat, do the ... save the chat. Get all those links, make sure that you get all the free things in there. If anything requires you to request access, request it and I'll give it to you, okay? It's just a security measure so that it makes it so everybody doesn't like have it all over the place. One of the other free gifts that I gave you in here was how to market yourself on LinkedIn. That's just like an ebook. I don't know if you caught it or not, but it was in there because we appreciate you being here. And
Bon
see,
said
Bon's
hi.
here.
Hi, Bon.
Hey.
Hello, Joe and Elizabeth.
So then we have a question about, do we teach Australian taxation and BAS bookkeeping and Australian tax return preparation? That is not our focus. We don't necessarily do taxes in foreign countries like Australia. Can we position you to learn how to look things up like that? Absolutely. I think that's what we're doing all the time. Is one of the things that you'll learn is that the IRS, the Australian Tax Board, they want you to be able to know what they're talking about. So you'll learn how to research all the time. That's what we're doing within Bedrock. As we were doing this workshop, you saw that I put in all those links. Do you know how I was putting in all of those links? As we were doing this, I was looking them up live and in the moment. Okay, I didn't know necessarily what Joe was going to say. Sometimes Joe says, there's a reason why there is a flywheel trap to make it so not all of our clients will have to interact with Joe. All right, because who knows what Joe's going to say. But this is where you have the ability to learn how to research that way. And we're always teaching people that. That Tisha, great researcher, part of Bedrock. She's amazing.
Luz, everybody, part of their job is to research. I can't believe what, Luz taught. I spent very little time teaching Luz about payroll, and now I think she knows more about payroll than I do, which is a good thing.
That's true. And she's still in the room. I see Luz, but this is where Luz is so amazing that she's not even going to speak. In order to speak to Luz, you definitely have to register for the course. There she goes. She's going to wave, but she's not going to say anything. In order to hear Luz, you have to register for the course. That's what I'm going to say, because she's a master. She is filling out all those forms. She does know all of those things. And she is constantly telling our team members what to do, how to do it, and directing our clients with the same thing. So in order to speak with Luz, sign up for the course. That's what I'm going to say.
So I'd like to mention something that I didn't mention. And yeah, the mastermind, we start every Friday at 11:30 a.m. That's New York Eastern Standard Time. Okay. It's free. So I see time and money. It doesn't cost anything to join the mastermind. So Luz, what I'm thinking of, all of our team had to learn how to work with me. Okay. I'm a New York guy. I'm Italian. I'm a little rough around the edges. I know that. And we have a relationship specialist on our team. Her name is Susan. I don't know if Susan's in the room, but part of, I think, and Luz, if you want to unmute yourself, maybe you could back me up on this. Part of the shock of learning how to work with Bedrock was actually learning how to work with our clients. because the American business owners have a different kind of mindset. Okay. We, let's just say the capitalistic mindset, the commercials, the way we have been brought up, we've been brought up and taught to spend more money than we have. Okay, and that's why a lot of our clients have 15 credit cards. They're overdrawn in their bank accounts, and we very politely have to tell them that they need to change their habits. So part of what we're going to be teaching you isn't just, and I think I mentioned this about making your client feel comfortable and knowing that you have their back, is learning how to deal with them. Because if you learn how to deal with them, that's a lot more valuable than learning bookkeeping and accounting. Am I right, Elizabeth? I forgot your name there a second.
Joe, question, sorry.
Go ahead.
Coming in. So meaning,
You're breaking up, Marianne.
so meaning $20 will be deducted for the 197, right?
Yes.
And then is it installment? And how is the process for the installment?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, I think we talked about this when we were talking about putting the.
Yeah, because somebody's also I
Yeah,
asking.
we can definitely do installments. Our objective is to make it affordable for people. I would love to get the 197 up front, but that's not realistic. So I know, listen, a lot of our clients are in the negative. They're not only not making money, but they're living from week to week. And we make it so it's affordable for them. And I want to do the same thing for your people, Marianne. So we will definitely work out payment plans for everybody. We just haven't, formally figured out how we're going to do that yet. That's why I decided, so let us do a $20 deposit. And if you trust us to do the right thing, we will. Okay. Does that make sense, Marianne?
I think Marianne dropped off. That's the whole
Oh, okay.
internet thing. It's okay.
Yeah.
No worries. But somebody asked if they opt out of a certain portion of it, right? And they're paying month to month and they opt out of that month of it. Will it still be discounted? Yeah, it'll still be discounted. I believe that's the way that it winds up working, is because each portion of it will be that month to month system. And then if you don't necessarily need to do that one portion of it, you can opt out of it for that month and maybe jump in again the following month. But in order to get the certification at the end, you have to go through all of it. And that, I think that's key to it, because if you go through all of it, then we can put that stamp of approval on it. You know what I mean? Then it's easier to put your profile within the Bedrock Business Builder system. And I think that's key.
I think it's going to be, it is important that, the content is extremely important, but all the little tidbits that you're going to get with each section, if you participate, when we go through the payroll, it's a lot of compliance and really boring stuff, to be honest with you. We have a way of making things funny and enjoyable so that you will get the most out of it. So just keep that in mind. But yes, Elizabeth's right. We will, we don't want the price to be an obstacle for people. Not only that, I could tell you this, because people that have taken my bookkeeping courses in the past, we want you to get clients before you're done with the course. And we're going to help you. We're going to show you how to get clients. So a lot of what we're going to be doing, we're going to have marketing people, our marketing people. You're going to have Elizabeth, you're going to have Janine, Corrine. These are all people that have helped me put our marketing together. You know, if you see us on Facebook, I'm not doing that stuff. That's not me. That's Janine, that's Elizabeth, that's Corrine. I stopped doing that a long time ago. Sometimes I go on there, I was like, this is brilliant. and I didn't do it. You know, Corinne, I saw Janine is putting stuff up about California now, the different states, because I said, you know, people from California they're not interested just in the IRS. They want to know what's going on with that state. And that's what we're going to teach you. You could become an expert just on the state of California, because there's a lot of stuff that is unique to that state. And people will value the fact that, oh, you know everything about our state. Does that make sense, Elizabeth? Am I right?
That does make sense. So one of the questions that was just asked is, will there be hands-on exercises? And yeah, of course there'll be hands-on exercises, because we need to see your skills. And
actually, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take a test company from the start. We're going to find one of our clients. We're going to hide who they are, but we're going to take one of our most messed up clients, and we're going to show you how to fix it, so that we're going to take you all the way through so that you know how to do their tax return. That's going to be part of getting the certificate.
the hands-on experience, I think, is very helpful, because you actually see it then, you know, like and this is where we can share screens and we can show you all the different things to it. Joe is an amazing teacher, and our team are really good at teaching too. Like Luz and Thisha and Carmela and Corrine and Janine, all of them, they don't just know what they're doing, they can talk about what they're doing. That's why Luz in the chat, you guys were asking about how to become an unenrolled agent. She had a link right away for you on how to become an enrolled agent. All right.
I know, I thought that came from you, and then I saw it came
Yeah.
from Liz. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, because we're always learning.
Last year, Liz was afraid of making a mistake until she found out that I make more mistakes than anyone. So, you know, another thing that is important that we're going to teach you is all the crazy questions that our clients come up with, the crazy things that they do, the crazy things that they say, and how to deal with them. You know, how to get them. Like Luz became an expert at how to get our clients to give us their statements. I was trying, and it was very, very frustrating, but for some reason she knows how to do it. So those little things that they don't teach you in school are important if you want to make money, because also how to pick your clients. That's important, right, Elizabeth?
That's
you
so
don't want to do
important.
business with anybody. Okay, you can get, you know, clients that will drive you crazy. So we're going to teach you how to, you know, avoid those people. You know, it's just like, you know, I like to use the dating example. You don't want to date somebody that you know, this guy doesn't want kids or whatever, they're not compatible with you. It's the same thing with clients.
You're going to want to ask them questions. Okay, so here's an insider's tip, all right? I was a virtual assistant way before I started working with Joe. Do you know how I decided that I wanted to work with Joe? I said to him, I've got another client who wants to have you on his podcast. I want you to talk about this, but I also want you to write a paper about what you're going to talk about. And don't you know, Joe very quickly wrote me a whole paper about what he was going to talk about. Jennifer, you laugh. I'm so serious. That is how I knew.
She was qualifying me. I didn't even know it.
That's how I knew I wanted to work with Joe. Okay, because when you're working as a virtual assistant, it's true. You want to look up who you're working with. You want to make sure that you're going to be working with someone who's legitimate. There are a lot of scams out there. You want to avoid them as much as possible. And the only way to do that is to be your best researcher. You look people up, you find out about them, you know what their social media is, what they're doing on videos, who they are, what they do, if they're licensed. All right, because the licensing matters. You know, I also work with Joe. I looked up and made sure he was licensed. Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
knew.
important. That, you know, I'm doing a lot of, you know, I did a couple of videos on fraud. The IRS is big on fraud now. And believe it or not, there's a lot of criminal tax preparers out there. So if you're going to work for an accountant, you want to do what Elizabeth did. You want to make sure that they have the right credentials, that, you know, they actually sign returns. And, you know, you want to pick, don't be so quick to just take on anyone. Okay, because mark my words, there might be somebody that you'll be sorry that you even wasted your time with.
Joe is not the first accountant that I had tested. Just so you know, okay? Like it wasn't like I just tested Joe. It was multiple accountants I was testing all at the same time. And he was the absolute best. I wrote a book on how to register an LLC in New York. Joe made it so I changed my mind on what best was to how to structure your corporation because of the tax implications. All right. So we have two competing books. We had two competing philosophies. And sometimes when you are working with somebody, they teach you. Not sometimes, they always teach you. Your clients teach you, the people that you work with teach you. How long does the course run? Joe, tell me, how long does the course run?
Well, we're gonna do it for 13 weeks.
All right.
And
And
it might sound like a long time, but that's not enough time to cover everything. That's why I'm gonna have office hours. We're gonna make sure that people get everything they can.
then is sales tax included in the
Yes,
course?
absolutely. Sales tax, we just brushed over it. But sales tax is another thing going on in the United States that is huge. You get people that are opening up online stores. That sales tax is actually more complicated than any of the other taxes, because the states are actually fighting with each other and they're losing out. So the states have found, again, the states are using technology. Okay, so the states are finding out who's doing business in the state. And if you don't pay the sales tax, or if you don't collect the sales tax, because that's what your job is as a business owner. Okay, like my mom, believe it or not, if she sells her masks or her whatever she's making to somebody that lives in New Mexico, she's got to collect sales tax. How is she going to know where they live? Well, we're going to teach you how she's going to know. What, you know, thankfully, if she's doing business through something like Etsy, they take care of that for you. But these business owners don't know this stuff. So we're going to cover that in the course. That's a good question, though. Thank you. All right, I'm getting a lot of people saying exciting, and it's really getting me excited. So everybody's welcome.
I'm pumped about it, but it's 11:20, Joe, and I'm about to turn into a pumpkin. I gotta admit, I don't know.
Yes, it's past my bedtime. I know it's morning in the Philippines, but it's dark and it's bedtime now. So I want to thank everybody for coming. I hope to see you in the class. I hope to see you all in the mastermind. And for Corrine and Janine, they're on the clock right now, so I expect to see you working. And Luz, thank you. I hope your father-in-law is feeling better. Luz had to go and take her father-in-law to the hospital today. So I hope that's all okay.
Yeah, he's
And-
okay now.
I'm sorry, Liz.
Yeah, he's okay now. That's
Okay,
why I was
awesome.
able to attend.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, everybody. It's been an
All right.
absolute pleasure. You will get a recording of this. Karina is going to definitely follow up with emails and information and all that stuff that you've asked questions about, all the details. Because again, Karine, like most of our team, really likes the details. Okay. I don't know why. We just kind of hang out together. That's what we like to do. So
Okay.
it's been fabulous, fun, exciting. You all have all been very authentic and transparent, and it's been a great time. Remember to ... save the chat, and I'm gonna shut the party down.
All
Joe,
right.
any final
Good night.
words? Night.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth and Joe.
You're welcome.
Karine, thank you.